Welcome back to Capital Catch-Up. I'm Victor.
And I'm Leanie. Today we're walking through a handful of bills, a nomination, a committee hearing, and the latest entries in the Congressional Record that were released earlier this week.
Let's start with the bills. First up, House Bill 7075, the CDFI Fund Transparency Act. The title suggests it would increase transparency around the Community Development Financial Institutions Fund, though we'll need to look at the text for specifics.
House Bill 7768, the Tax Relief for Renters Act of 2026, appears aimed at providing tax relief to people who rent their homes. Again, the exact mechanisms aren't in the title, but the focus is on renters.
House Bill 7076, the Highway Formula Fairness Act, seems to address how federal highway funds are distributed among states. The word fairness indicates there may be debate over the current formula.
House Bill 7698, the Tribal Firearm Access Act, likely deals with firearm regulations as they apply to tribal lands. The title points to access, but we'll need the bill language to know whether it expands or restricts that access.
House Bill 7072, the Light Safety Act, doesn't spell out the acronym in the title, but the focus on safety could involve various consumer or public safety measures.
House Bill 7773, the Field Integration of Homeland Intelligence Act of 2026, sounds like it would aim to improve how intelligence gathered in the field is shared with Homeland Security components.
House Bill 7070, the Hearing Aid Assistance Tax Credit Act, would likely create or modify a tax credit to help offset the cost of hearing aids.
House Bill 7970, the STOP Nitazenes Act, references nitazenes, which are a class of synthetic opioids. The bill probably targets their distribution or use.
House Bill 7988, the Safe Passage to the World Cup Act, seems connected to the upcoming World Cup, possibly addressing security, travel, or logistics for fans and participants.
House Bill 7971, the Taxpayer Experience Improvement Act, and House Bill 7972, the Taxpayer Workforce Modernization Act, both appear to focus on the Internal Revenue Service, one on improving how taxpayers interact with the agency, the other on updating its workforce.
Moving to a bit older legislation, House Bill 556, the Protecting Access for Hunters and Anglers Act, would likely seek to safeguard access to federal lands and waters for those recreational activities.
Now, let's look at the resolutions. House Resolution 1123 recognizes the victims of the Happy Land Social Club fire in the Bronx and designates March 25, 2026 as a day of remembrance for that tragedy.
House Resolution 1122 honors the life and legacy of Coach Lou Holtz, presumably for his contributions to football and public life.
House Concurrent Resolution 79 authorizes the use of the Capitol Rotunda for the lying-in state of several service members. Air Force Major John A. Klinner, Captain Ariana G. Savino, Captain Seth R. Koval, Captain Curtis J. Angst, Technical Sergeant Ashley B. Pruitt, and Technical Sergeant Tyler H. Simmons.
On the nominations front, the Senate has received the nomination of Anna St. John of Louisiana to serve as a United States District Judge for the Eastern District of Louisiana, filling the seat vacated by Judge Sarah S. Vance upon her retirement.
The Senate Small Business and Entrepreneurship Committee held a hearing on Sunshine Week, focusing on bringing secret government spending to light. The hearing included consideration of several Senate measures. Senate Bill 766, which would require an annual report of taxpayer-funded projects that are over budget and behind schedule. Senate Bill 872, which would amend the federal funding accountability and transparency. Act of 2006 to ensure that other transaction agreements are reported to usspending.gov. Senate Bill 459, which would set requirements for executive branch spending at the end of a fiscal year. Senate Bill 4130, which aims to pub a public price tag on all projects supported with taxpayer dollars. The text appears to have a typographical error, but the intent is to make project costs publicly visible. And Senate Bill 1199, which would extend the statute of limitations for fraud under certain pandemic-related programs.
Finally, the Congressional Record for March 16th and March 17th, 2026, volumes 172, numbers 47 and 48, contains the daily proceedings, including debates, statements, and notices from both chambers.
To sum up, listeners should watch for further action on the tax relief measures for renters and taxpayers, the highway funding formula debate, and the various transparency and accountability bills that emerged from the Sunshine Week hearing. The nomination of Anna St. John will likely move to the Senate Judiciary Committee, and the resolutions honoring the Happy Land victims and Coach Holtz are expected to be considered for passage.
That's all for today's Capital Catch-Up. Thanks for joining us and stay informed.
Bye bye.